is dropping in about roughly 2 months or so. So I just want to go over some keyword skills. This is going to be the next series that we're doing, just to help newer players that come into the game and players that are just starting right now as well, clarify some keywords, interactions, stuff like that. So today we'll be going over critical. It's a very popular one, so I thought I'd do this one first, seeing as how Vegeta decks and all that are kind of a popular deck, and blue is very strong at the moment. So let's go over what critical does. So as you see here on Overflowing Spirit, SSG, SS Sun Goku, it'll tell you what critical does really, but if you don't understand, let's go over it again. When this card inflicts damage to your opponent's life, if they place that many cards in their drop area, instead of their hand. So normally in a game, when you attack something that doesn't have critical, they will take a card from their life and add it to their hand, equal to the amount of damage that they're taking. But what critical does is, instead of adding cards to their hand, it'll place it instantly into the drop area. Now, what that means is it lets you push for damage while mitigating your opponent's hand size. So normally you get punished for attacking them too much by adding cards to their hand, giving them combos or more plays for them. But with critical, you kind of negate that while you're still gaining the advantage. So that's why critical is pretty strong, and that's basically what critical does. That's the simple rundown right there. So if I attack with Goku here and they can't block it or negate it, then they will take 1 damage and put it into their drop area. Very simple, very easy, right? Now let's go over cards that can boost criticals and make them stronger. But we'll also go over cards that you can play to counter these critical decks and these strong effects. So with Goku here, you can play cards like Furthering Destruction Champa. Now what he does is, when you combo with this card, choose one of your attacking cards, it gains Double Strike. Now what Double Strike is, this card inflicts 2 damage instead of 1 when attacking for the duration of the turn. So if I attack with Goku here and they choose not to negate or block, I enter my combo step. I will then combo with Furthering Champa onto him, giving him 10,000 power and Double Strike. So if that goes through, instead of taking 1, they take 2 now. So these 2 will go into the drop area. Now that's really good because sometimes your opponent just doesn't want to block because they want to get into, let's say they're at 5. And they're like, okay, I can take 1 damage, so then I can awaken next turn. And then you kind of spring this onto them out of nowhere, giving them 10k double strike. They're like, oh, wait, I thought I was taking 1, but now I'm taking 2. Now instead of putting them at 4, you put them at 3. So that speeds up the game a lot more for you. So this is a good card to go with critical. I recommend playing this card if you're playing a critical heavy deck. It's really good because to combo it, it costs 1 of anything. So you don't need to worry about throwing a red card into your blue deck or whatever deck that you're running. But right now for critical, it's mainly in the blue section. So if you want to do that, I recommend running 3 to 4 of this card. It's very cost efficient and it just adds so much pressure to your opponents. Now the famous critical leader is, of course, Vegeta. Now what he does is he takes a card from your life and adds it to your hand, and he gains critical. Now cards you can combo with him is, again, same thing. Champa, because it says choose one of your attacking cards. It doesn't say choose one of your attacking battle cards. So anything that is attacking on your field will gain Double Strike. Now another card that you can add now is also Encouraging Presence Monaga. Now it costs 1, kind of same thing as Champa here. It costs 1, but you activate on your main instead of combo. Your leader card gains Double Strike, and then you draw a card. So this card is pretty decent because it's a replacement effect as well. So you drop 1 card from hand, but you're drawing a card, so you replace it right away. So you're not losing any cards out of hand. The only downside to this is that it only works with leader, and the problem is that it activates on main. So before you enter attack, so you activate this, it gives your opponents a timing window to negate or block now that they see you drop this. Now, that might not be an issue because maybe you want to bait those negates out of their hand by playing this. And you're like, okay, I'm going to attack Vegeta, and you bait them into it. And then if they don't, then they're taking 2 critical. So it's a win-win for you. You either bait the a lot of combos or negates out of their hands or blocker, or they just take the damage. So that's pretty good. So for leaders, so for your Vegeta leader, if you're playing a critical heavy deck, encouraging Princess Monica and further destruction Champa is the way to go to increase these guys' powers potential. Now you might say critical is pretty strong, and what can you do to counteract critical decks? So of course the first thing is the very simple basic stuff, is your negate cards. These are the negate attacks of each color. I won't go over them too much because they're just simple negate cards, but just showing you so you know what color has what negate. So green has full power energy, blue has Whis Coercion, yellow has Raccoon Eraser Gun, and red has Divine Aid Vadas. So just simple things to block critical is to negate. Of course, that's the simplest thing to do. You just kind of wait for them to do their thing and then you negate it. And then of course the other thing are blockers. Now I'm showing the 1-cost ones because they're cost efficient, they're cheap to play, and they do the job. Because what every blocker is supposed to do is mitigate damage. So I don't like playing those 2-drops or heavy blockers unless they have some really good skill on them. I prefer, for right now in set 1, play these 1-cost blockers. They're very cheap and they do exactly what you want. So it doesn't matter how strong he's swinging with Goku or Vegeta. They could be 35k, double strike, triple strike, whatever, and then you just rest your blocker and then just redirect it over. So it's good to set these up kind of early, or you kind of don't want to drop this early because if they remove it, then it's really bad for you. You kind of want to wait for the turn just before that they're about to play something critical, like around on your turn 3, right before turn 4, where they're about to drop this card. You drop this turn 3. So you don't want to always drop this turn 1 or 2, because then if they get rid of it, it's problematic for you to try to keep up with the tempo at that point. So don't try to rush yourself against these critical decks, because that's exactly what they want you to do. Like, they want to put you on an awkward tempo, and they just want to speed up the game and force you to do awkward plays. So don't fall into that trap and just play a steady pace game and just think about your turns very carefully. But 1-cost blockers, very easy. Now other cards that are pretty good to help you against certain cards like critical are, it's in yellow basically. These 3 cards. There could be more, but I'm just going over simple stuff. These are the first ones that came to my mind. So Cold Bloodlust, what it does is counter on play. If your leader card is a Frieza army, so if you're playing yellow, these are specific yellow cards. The battle card has skill negated for duration and turn. So it's only battle card, remember. So if they drop Overflowing Goku, you will play Cold Bloodlust when they play the card, and its skills are negated to the end of turn. So it will lose the critical and it will gain, and it will lose whatever else is on there. So the card pretty much becomes a blank card. So this becomes a 4-cost Goku with 15 power. That's it, no skill, just pretty much block this whole part out. So that kind of stops him for that turn. And then Crusher Ball. The battle card played is played in rest mode. So they drop down a Goku, and then you're scared that they might push for that extra damage to win right there, or you just want to ease off the pain. Then as soon as he drops this card or any battle card that you're afraid of, use Crusher Ball and it will come in rested. So now he can't attack for that turn. So it just saves you pretty much 1 turn of a card that you're scared of. And then if you're playing King Cold works as well. Counter battle card. So if you're on the defense, this means you have to wait for your combo step. So when he attacks with Overflowing, you kind of want to use guy when he overextends. So he'll attack with Overflowing, then pay 1, and then give it further destruction. Now it's a 25k double strike critical. Then you drop this guy for 4, and play this card from your hand and change the target of the attack to this card. So he attacks you. You drop King Cold, and you redirect it over to King Cold. Now what's good about King Cold is that he has revenge. So that means if he attacks King Cold, he will die. So that's a cool part. You can let them overextend, pay a lot, kind of buff this to a big number, and then you just make them waste it on this guy. Now, this one I don't recommend playing that much as of right now, because he is cost heavy. He's 4, so you kind of just, for 4 energy right now in the game, if you're playing yellow, that's pretty much one whole turn of doing nothing. So, but if you do want to play this card, it is in a best of 3, maybe as a sideboard card if they're playing a slower deck and stuff like that. So that card is what I recommend. So that is pretty much it, guys, for critical, and then just keep a lookout for the next series.